The rise of Nottingham Forest has included owner corruption, refereeing mismanagement, fines, a squad churn of about 1 million players, but somehow today they sit third in the Premier League. They've just won West Ham 3-0. Let's discuss how they've done it. A couple of years ago in 2022, they got promoted with a squad of loan players, short-term contracts. The only player from back then who is still at the club now is Ryan Yates. And how have they done it? We need to discuss that. Just before I get into the video, I'm just going to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. I'm currently on less than 1,000. I'm on 949. I believe I should be on more. I want to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. Quickly just go down there and press the subscribe button. Let's get into the video. So Forest's owner, Marinakis, is a controversial figure. He's a Greek man who owns Olympiacos as well. And since being with Forest, a lot of the fans have discussed whether the club is his first love or whether it's Olympiacos where he's putting the most attention to. And when they were in the Championship, it felt very much like he was prioritising Olympiacos. But since Steve Cooper got Forest promoted to the Premier League, it feels like that's shifted now. Forest are at a point now where they're signing players to loan out to Olympiacos, and it looks like Marinakis is more involved with Forest. And since getting promoted to the Premier League, they have not been a quiet team. They have not gone under the radar at all, because they posted on their social media a big long spiel about officiating this country, which saw them get fines. They've had points deductions, they've had managers come and go, and a whole host of players have been in and out of the door in each season. And this is now their third season, and they now have a bit of stability. The owner seems to have calmed down for now. You know, they employed Mark Clattenburg last season, and he's gone from whatever role it was he was doing. You know, was it advising at the club? I'm not too sure. It's more stable now. Nuno Espirito Santo is at the wheel. He's got old players like Morgan Gibbs-White at attacking midfield, pulling the strings, and they look really good. And as I say, at the time of recording, they're sitting in third place above the likes of Arsenal, above the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Spurs. And how are they doing it? Let's talk tactics. So they play a 4-2-3-1 formation. It's a compact mid-block. When they get forward, the players are relatively narrow, and the wingers Elanga and Hudson-Odoi like to cut in. Morgan Gibbs-White plays in attacking midfield, and that position is the one which pulls the strings. It's free roam. There's a lot of licence to do whatever you need to do, risky or not. Somehow Chris Wood has scored into one of the most dynamic goal-scoring strikers in the Premier League this season. He's got 8 goals in 10 games. In his last 41 games for Forest in the Premier League, he's got 22 goals. There's been a range of goals that he's scored in that. But part of this is the fact that Nuno has set it up where he's got Elanga, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Hudson-Odoi behind him, setting him up, confusing defenders, and creating chances for him. Now let's just have a look at what Hudson-Odoi's main threat is. A lot of people already know it, but it's cutting in from the left. So as you can see, he's got the ball right now, wide left. He's got a couple of Forest players around him, a couple of his teammates, and he's got one thing that he wants to do in this position, and that's cut in. Elliot Anderson is being a decoy for the opposition, and because he's there, it means that they do not want to fully commit to tackling Hudson-Odoi. And within a couple of touches, he squares himself up to shoot, and it was a really good save from Hermansen, the Leicester goalkeeper, which stopped him from scoring. And from this screenshot here, you can see their shape in attack. This is actually from a goal which they scored in that match versus Leicester a couple of weeks ago, where they won 3-1. But the front four is very much a front four. It's Chris Wood with the attacking midfielder. The two wingers are often the wider ones, but they also cut in, as you just seen with Hudson-Odoi. And then it's the double pivot of Ryan Yates and Dominguez. Obviously, other players come into that. They've got Ward-Prowse in the squad, forming the double pivot, the shield, which allowed the attackers to do their thing. But as you can see against West Ham here, Aina has the ball at right back, and he sees that there's some space to run in, and he thinks, yeah, I'm going to go for it. I've got players covering me in defence. You know, Moreno's at left back tucking in, so there's 3 defenders there. And then obviously the double pivot, and the fact he gets forward means that it's basically a 3-2-5, and he sees space to cut in. So what does he do? He cuts in. A West Ham player, I'm not 100% sure who it is, it could be Rodriguez, makes an awful attempt at a tackle. And at this point, Forest have got 3 players, as you can see, running in behind, causing the defenders troubles, making them not know whether to close down Aina because he's a right back at attacking midfield all of a sudden. And ultimately, nobody gets close enough to him. There's too much space. He just absolutely rifles it in with his left foot and makes it 3-0. And this is a situation which only arises because Nuno has his structures in place so well at Forest. Each player knows their role. They know the rules which are enforced in the squad, and they know how to break them a little bit. And I'm sure that at half-time, once that red card was awarded to West Ham, or a little bit after that in the second half, Nuno sort of said, you know, you can express yourselves a little bit more, attack the space, and that's what Aina did. And he's an example of a player as well who, during this rigmarole at Forest of constant manager changes, constant player changes, constant player turnaround, a bit of stability is in place now, and he's found a home. And as I say, defensively, it's a mid-block, it's narrow, it's compact. They want to force the opposition out wide and make them get as far away from the goal as possible. And it works. They say that attacks will score you goals, defences win you games. And the fact is that they signed Milinkovic from Fiorentina for 12 million this summer, and he's being paired up with Murillo at centre-back, who came from Brazil last year. And it's working really, really well. That defensive partnership is not allowing teams to get past them too well, not allowing them to score too many goals, and they're so solid. And even when he was at Wolves, Nuno was known as a manager who has that defence-first aspect to him, who'll want the team to be nullifying the opposition, stopping them from scoring before he gets his own team to be, you know, a free-flowing attacking side. And it feels like at Forest, he's got that defence aspect sorted out now, which is why they're beginning to score goals, which is why Chris Wood has 8 goals this season, which is why Hudson-Odoi has, I think it's about 10 goals in his last 30 games. And Murillo's a player who I want to touch on a little bit. He is touted as potentially being the next big signing, or the big sale for Forest. He came for less than 20 million, and he came from Brazil, which in their league, the football isn't as positional, it's more expressive. There's a lot more freedom. There's an instance in this match, I don't think I can find it, but I saw it, and he closed down Mikel Antonio, basically playing attacking midfield, which left Milinkovic as like a single centre-back. And it just shows that he's such a flexible player. He's so good on the ball. He's got a good strike on him as well. I'm not sure if he's actually scored a goal since coming, but he's such an all-round player. And he's one of those where if Forest tried to play him at left back or CDM, I think he'd be perfectly fine. He's about 6 foot tall, but he bullies attackers. He's young as well. He's going to move to a big team eventually, and I think Forest fans need to enjoy the time that they've got with him. 5 wins, 4 draws and 1 loss is Forest record this season. Do I think that they're going to continue in such a great vein of form? No. Do I think Chris Wood is going to continue scoring at 0.8 goals a game? No. But do I think that they're going to stay up in the Premier League quite convincingly, potentially push for, you know, that 7th spot? Yeah, I think that they look really good. They're a really well-drilled side. With how well Nuno did a few years ago back at Wolves, where I think he got them the Europa Conference League, the squad that he's got with Forest is stronger, there's more depth, and I think he's a really good manager. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments, please. Let me know about Nuno. Do you think that the season's going to fizzle out into a mid-table finish, or do you think that they're going to get European places? Go check out my previous video. It was on Arne Slot, and now he's doing it at Liverpool. They currently sit top of the league. I foreshadowed it. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel whilst you're here, and I'll catch you in the next one.